All right, people are asking what's it take to make the rocket go boom? What is going to set this off? What is it that we need to actually have a squeeze? And I am going to say it is this guy here, Saitama, One Punch Man. We need one big punch to kind of start off the squeeze and get things rolling. So I will be showing you via some charts. So we are looking at CLOV here. This is from the 8th, June 8th and June 9th, because that is where we actually saw the first squeezes for CLOV. Now this is the 1 minute chart, so we're just going to look at the minute by minute, and we see the price growing, hits a peak here, drops off quite a bit, but it stabilizes, then the next day it will grow some more. But if you look at these charts, what stands out is that first candle and the volume there. So we will look at that. That is at 9:30 a.m. So as soon as the market opens, we have a volume of 50 million. So that is just in a single minute, we have 50 million shares being sold and bought. So that drives the price up to 1677. And then if we look at what it actually closed at the previous day, it was around like a little bit less than $12. So jump, the high was 1810. Again, all within a single minute. Now that set the tone for the rest of the day where things started going up and then people started catching on. And then the next day we see another jump. Big candle here, again at 9:30 a.m. Let's try to get it to 30. There we go. 39 million. Again, all in a single minute. This is what brings the price up to the mid to high 20s. And then we can look at the next candle. If you notice, there's a huge drop off. So we go from 39 to 4 to 4.6. And then we see it finally taper off for the rest of the day. And then starting from the 10th, we will start to see a drop in price. Now, what caused this? So at 9:30 a.m., the only people who are buying this much volume are market makers. They need to make sure that they are hedged for the day and for the week, so they will start buying shares based on what options contracts came into play. The previous day actually saw a pretty decent rise in price. So a lot of people keyed in on this and said, you know what, I'm just going to buy options. So they bought a ton of options, and that is what caused the spike the next day. If you look at other days previously to that, it was pretty much just trading sideways. And it had been like that for quite a while. So we can look at the historical data and we can see the volume for those days. So the 7th, like I said, we saw a pretty good increase in price from 9 to 12, and the volume was fairly high at 125. The next day was the one of the big squeeze, and then we saw an open at 1664 and it closed at 2493, but the volume was 735 million. And remember, roughly about 50 million of that was in the first minute. And then the following day, we saw another high volume day, and then we saw the drop on the 10th where it dropped to 1809. But looking at previous days before that squeeze, the highest volume was probably, 48 million, 31 million. So these days had less volume than the first minute of trading on the 8th and the 9th. So that shows us that many people weren't interested and that there weren't really any options in play. So the price remained fairly stable. We see it jumping from 10 down to 674 and then back up to 10. So fairly stable. It's just fluctuating between 6 and 10. But the big jump happens again when we get volume. So we need to be like this guy again and go for volume in a single punch. Doing 1,000 little pokes is not going to do it. 1,000 little pokes will keep the price stable, but it will not actually raise the price to a significant degree. So you might be thinking, okay, that's CLOV. That might just be a random occurrence. So let's look at AMC, one of our big brothers. So AMC, this one we actually have a lot more evidence on May 19th here. Somebody bought $6.3 million of call options for June 16th, I believe, 16th, no, June 18th, and with a strike price of $40. So we're talking about a $40 strike price. This had closed at $12.39, so the price was around like $12.50 when they bought that. So they were thinking, all right, I'm going to put $6.3 million on a call option. So this is a bet where they can lose all $6.3 million. But they said, I'm going to place that bet and let's see where it goes. So they bought it, and then some time passes, nothing's really going on. And then we start seeing a slight increase on the 24th, but on the 26th is when we see, again, the big candle. This is a volume of a little bit under 40 million, again, at 9:30 a.m. So this is the market makers starting to really hedge that $40 call option. So what happens when they start hedging that $40 call option is that they are raising the price because they have to buy more and more shares. So as they buy more shares, the price will go up, and as the price goes up, people get interested. The price is not falling again, so people are interested, and then more people bought call options, and boom. Again, 9:30 a.m., we see volume of 81 million. So there are a couple ways to look at that 9:30 time. We can either say that there are retail, institutional, or other buyers who all suddenly decide to, hey, wake up one morning and go, I'm going to buy at 9:30 as soon as market opens. And hey, let's do this every morning. If you notice the biggest candles for the day, they are all at 9:30. So I find that not quite plausible. I know for myself, I buy throughout the day. Most people seem to buy throughout the day. So 9:30, there's probably just a handful of buyers, and that would be the market makers because they want to get in as soon as the market opens because they don't know which way the price is going to go. And then we can look at GME. Again, GME was, those are holidays, but it was kind of flatlining, and then we saw the big jump again. GME has a much lower float, so $3.37 million within the first minute here. And then we see it again. Oh, sorry, not dollars, but shares. And then we see another 3 million shares here. Another 1.28 there. But again, every morning, the first thing when you're playing options, a lot of options, is that the volume will go up significantly, which will raise the price significantly. I think this was the biggest jump, and we saw 30 million shares, and we saw a jump all the way up to 354 at 9:30 a.m. The thing with GME that we should look at is that we saw price jumps, but we also saw very large crashes in price. The reason why these crashes happen, it went down to under 100 at one point, is because not enough people are buying and holding actual shares. So if you don't have a large support system, what will happen is that once that volume dries up in call options, people will start selling and it will crash. So we saw it crash here, and then moving on, we will see a slow buildup in options again, which will raise the price again, and every little spike is usually done by a call option. AMC was the first one which actually had a very, very strong support group. So once you see the peaks, there are always going to be fairly large dips, mainly because of volume drying up and the price being so high that people can't buy more shares. But after a dip, it will kind of rebound as long as call options are being purchased. And AMC is actually one that stabilized fairly well. We can zoom out here. So AMC is going through its ups and downs, but if you notice that the highs are higher, so it's around the $63, $64 mark, but the lows, you really never saw it drop under 50 in the past 2 weeks. Maybe here, yep, in the 40s, but that was on the 10th, which was a little bit over 2 weeks ago. So what do we need to do with CLOV? Or what didn't we do with CLOV? CLOV, the biggest problem with the initial run-up was that there was no support system. So once that run-up ended, things crashed down to 12. Now I believe we do have a strong setup. We have a lot of support underneath us. I don't think we're ever going to drop under 12 anytime soon. And if we do, it might be like 11.75 or something like that. But that $12 is a very strong support. What we need to do is we need more volume. Let's look at the volume for, this was the day where it had a decent amount, so 23 million within the first minute, and we saw the price jump. This day we had another good amount, let's see, 17 million, so another price jump. Friday, which was kind of a day where things kind of sucked for us, we had only 4 million in volume at opening. Today was pretty bad as well. We had 2.46 million in opening. So again, what we really need is more volume, which is done through call options. All right, thanks guys.